Gunpowder Milkshake is an action movie starring Gillan and Lena Headey. It is about Gillan, who is an assassin forming a relationship with a child after a job goes awry, and a bunch of people are after her. She also reconnects with her mother that she has not seen in 15 years, whom is also an assassin. Together, they must do awkward action and perform horrible banter until the movie ends. This movie sucks, which is a shame since there's a lot of talent involved. The cast is fucking stacked. We've got Gillan, Lena Headey, Angela Basset, Paul Giammatti, and fucking Michelle Yeoh, and they are all forced to read this horrible dialogue that is painful to watch. Everything bad in this movie is the fault of the script and direction. This movie was written and directed by some random guy who's made 2 other movies and some horror short, and for some reason was handed $30 million to make this. The action in this movie is terrible, and it's clear the director has no idea how to direct it. A lot of it's really slow and awkward, with people standing there in one place, waiting to shoot our heroine. No one in this movie knows how to shoot guns. They all just stand there pointing them, and only shoot them when one of their allies is being used as a human shield, which happens like 6 times in this movie. There's also a lot of hand-to-hand action, some of which I swear they acted out slow, and then sped up the footage in post. The hand-to-hand stuff is all really bad, with goons waiting their turn to awkwardly be attacked in a boring way. A lot of the hand-to-hand stuff also has no reason to be there. Like in John Wick, he will hand-to-hand fight someone when both parties' guns are undisposed. But in this movie, people will just run into the room without guns at all. One guy shows up with a sledgehammer. It was so stupid. Why the fuck would you show up to a gunfight with a sledgehammer? Luckily for him, our heroines are out of ammo, so they have a shitty fight scene where he gets stabbed like 6 times in the neck, which doesn't slow him down at all. There is also a terrible scene where the kid is driving Kieran's indestructible car. People unload into it and bulletproof glass doesn't even buckle. It's a really entertaining action scene because there's no danger or stakes. That's what makes good action. Moving on from all the terrible action, let's talk about the terrible dialogue. This movie has some of the worst dialogue I've seen in a long time, and I watched The Tomorrow War like 2 weeks ago. All of the humor and banter is straight out of a kid's movie. There's a scene where Lena Headey says Gillan is frothing at the mouth, and Kieran licks around her mouth confused like she meant it literally. Characters will say fudge you and go fudge yourself to each other because the movie has an annoying kid in it and they don't want to curse in front of her. Here is verbatim what Oscar-nominated actress Angela Basset is forced to say in this shit. Because you're a ghost, and ghosts can't talk. You know how I know that? Because if ghosts could talk, they'd say something before disappearing. And I would just like to say, everyone in this movie is doing a bad job acting, but I blame the direction because it seems they're having a hard time with their character motivations, and especially what the tone of the movie is supposed to be. You have brutal violence juxtaposed with kids' movie dialogue, and any actor would just be like, what the fuck am I even supposed to be doing? This movie is trying to be a lot of other movies. The most obvious one is John Wick, as you got the secret assassin stuff going on, but it also feels like it's trying to be Baby Driver. John Wick and Baby Driver have wildly different tones and styles that do not blend. All of the assassin universe stuff is fucking stupid and seems like it's from a kid's show. The assassins she allies with are all in a library that has guns and books. This library is like a historical fancy library with a big dome roof, and it makes no sense as a cover. Like in John Wick, they have a hotel, which is an easy cover because it's just a hotel and it's not immediately suspicious. In this, someone goes in a library and you're like, oh, can I check out the library? And they're like, oh no, this library only has 3 people. Or it's a functioning library, which I don't know which one's dumber, because the books on the shelves will have guns and knives and even a gold ingot randomly during a fight scene later. So either it's a non-functioning library, which is a bad cover, or it's a library where a kid will open up a book and there'll be a fucking AK-47 in pieces in it. It's fucking stupid either way. The Baby Driver comes in its place with the soundtrack and some of the style and plot elements. The score itself is very Western sounding, which doesn't fit at all. You know, it has like the whistling good, bad, and the ugly sounding stuff. The first action scene does the eye stuff where it cuts between all of the combatants' eyes, which is later completely cut from the movie. There's no other Western style cinematography. I guess it was too hard to do. But there are action scenes scenes where they play 70s music, which is very similar to Baby Driver. There's even a scene where the little kid is listening to a Walkman as a bunch of action shit is going on. And then the main character wears a varsity jacket, drives a red car, hangs out in a diner, and was forced into a life of crime since she was a kid. It's like Baby Driver plus John Wick, plus a little bit of Kill Bill with the soundtrack, plus, I don't know, like a fucking dumpster fire. It's trash. All in all, Gunpowder Milkshake is a terrible film made by an incompetent director slash writer that wastes a wealth of talent and is extremely derivative of other movies. Do not watch this movie. It's very bad. Watch John Wick, Baby Driver. I haven't seen Nobody, but it's probably better. There's tons of better movies. Watch those instead. Anyway, what's the worst movie ripoff you've seen? Let me know in the comments below, and please like and subscribe so I'll watch more Netflix trash.